Good morning. Welcome to your Friday Faith Fill-Up. This morning I want to share a little bit of a preview of Sunday evening's message. We've been looking at John chapter 20, and Jesus has revealed himself to Mary and then also to a group of disciples, and we even discussed some other instances where Jesus had revealed himself. But if you remember when they were in the room, when Jesus appeared in the midst, the Bible tells us very plainly that Thomas was not with them. When you get down to verse number 26 of John 20, the Bible tells us after 8 days again, his disciples, says that they were gathered together, but it says, and Thomas with them. That phrase just really stood out to me as I was studying that Thomas was there with them, and it was stated in such a way that may seem, when you read the rest of the text, like not a big deal, not a big phrase, but I was thinking about the fact that even though Thomas didn't believe, even though he didn't even believe their accounts, much less believe the truth, that they still accepted him and they allowed him to be in the midst of them. Which is interesting because their nature as Jews was really, if people are not with you, they're on a different page than you, that you, in a sense, you excommunicate them, you push them aside, you don't have anything to do with them. And so this was really something that was against their nature to handle it the way that they did. And it's interesting, when I was really thinking about their attitude towards Thomas, I can see how in our day and age that there's many times that people have an attitude of animosity and division, really, or almost like that's the goal, is to divide from people or to push them aside many times. But really, when you look at Thomas, he was just struggling with faith, and that's what we'll talk about Sunday night. But he was just struggling with believing, and they showed him some grace. They showed him some patience to come around. You know, the Bible tells us many things about dealing with people that are that have the wrong behavior, that have the wrong doctrine, things like that. And there's certainly a point in a time of separation from people that is needed. But how many times, though, do we see somebody that is just struggling with their faith, and because of that, maybe they're asking questions or whatever the case may be, and they end up getting shunned just because they're trying to find the answers. They're trying to really understand something that they needed to understand. And I hope that this is really a lesson for us to be gracious to people. If somebody doesn't understand the truth, we don't need to get mad at them. We don't need to write them off. We don't need to say that they're hopeless. We need to continue to show grace, and we need to try and help them to understand what truth is, and to include them where they can be included, to be able to help them to be around others that believe the truth, that have seen Jesus, as we've looked at in the text. And who knows what God can do through that, maybe bringing somebody to the place where they're going to really understand. But just a final thought here. If they had shunned him, he would have never seen Jesus. Now, sure, Jesus could have showed himself at some other point in time, but I think it's important really to think that he needed to be there that day. He needed to be there. And if they had shunned him, if they had treated them or treated Thomas in a divisive way just because he hadn't accepted everything yet, that he would not have been there and be able to see that. We would have this awesome text where he declares him not just as Jesus, but as God. And I hope this is a blessing to you, something really practical that we could put into our lives, into our relationships. We'll see y'all on Sunday morning.